Every year at Digital Media Summit, we like to run through our thoughts at a high level around what we think is going on with the ecosystem, the markets, and the major trends in the sector. So our State of Digital Media, which we'll be publishing shortly, sort of runs through that. And if I pick the highlights, I would say that we kicked it off with what I call the Case for Optimism. There is challenges to the digital advertising ecosystem, and certainly the markets have penalized companies in the space with relatively low valuations. And there's a lot of sort of negative talk about issues associated with programmatic and digital advertising. That said, we made the case for optimism and really centered on 3 points. One is growth. Regardless of the challenges that do exist and have to be addressed, we're seeing more and more dollars flood into digital. When you think about supercharging that with artificial intelligence, we believe that the organic growth of the sector is going to continue unabated for the next foreseeable future, and that's a really strong position to start from. Second is the new entrants. We are seeing large companies, with massive capabilities and capitalizations, coming into the space, making investments, making acquisitions from a diverse group of buyers, ranging from the large CRM marketing clouds to the big data companies, the big media companies, telcos, even private equity. There's all these major groups investing material billions of dollars into the sector. That ought to be a very, very strong sort of buy signal about opportunities in the space. And the third is the follow to that, which is deals. We are getting deals done at fantastic valuations, at great multiples that do not reflect the sort of negativity associated with some of the publicly traded companies. So we think for those 3 reasons, there is a really strong case to be made to be optimistic about opportunities in digital media and marketing. Now, we did note that we are entering what we call a maturation phase. So while there's been less venture capital invested in the sector, it's down about $1 billion, 16 over 15, we did note that in the last 18 months, over 10 billion in private equity has moved into the sector. So all you got to do is, like Watergate, just follow the money. And sure enough, when the later stage investors, like private equity concerns, start investing major dollars, that ought to be a signal that this industry is going through its maturation cycle. And we think that's a good thing, right? If we were perennially requiring high beta early stage funding, then that'd probably be a bad thing. So we're pretty excited about that maturation phase, because we did note that we've been calling for industry consolidation to happen for years now. If you look at the number of deals versus new companies in the space, as depicted on the LUMAscapes, we actually have net consolidation. We're actually consolidating, which of course is our core business at LUMA. So we're excited that after years of calling for it, we're actually now seeing it.
And Terry, there's a lot of interest in the duopoly of Google and Facebook, and I wanted to ask you sort of how you see that and the emergence of Amazon. You spoke about that on stage, and the opportunities more broadly for smaller players outside of that duopoly.
So the duopoly exists, right? They are capturing close to 2/3 of total digital advertising spend and are capturing the lion's share of the growth in it. And that should be concerning in the sense that we don't wish any harm to Google and Facebook. We want them to keep growing, but we'd like the whole ecosystem to grow. And we've seen initiatives from various companies that I think will ensure that we have an open data system and an open media system to enable that opportunity. We also note that we're sort of, musing about who might be the sort of third major player, the Twitter, Snap, Oath. And we concluded that, at least in the near term, it feels like Amazon has a pretty good position from which to approach that. They've got programmatic capabilities in both the demand and the supply side. They, of course, have their web services business. And if we're going to move to a server-to-server world, there's one thing you need: servers. And they're the world's biggest. And I think in their sort of Trojan horse move to get even closer to the consumer, besides their investment in content, we noted that the Echo, the Alexa software, really could potentially be a game changer for them that has implications across media, marketing, and commerce.